Hi friends, I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Well, I'm so excited and thankful to be back in the garden again with you. We have so much that I want to get done today. I want to go ahead and plant a flat of Foxglove over in the hydrangea room. I want to double my stock of Verbena bonariensis the easiest way possible, which is water propagation in my experience, so we're going to do that. We're also going to do some seeding today. We're going to start the Saving Grace Dahlia seedlings today. So if you were around last fall, you might remember that we grew a lot of dahlias from seed, and one in particular I fell in love with. It was a beautiful bright pink dahlia with a lemon center. So I kept the tuber. I called it Saving Grace so we can kind of propagate that cultivar moving forward via tuber, but then we also saved the seed, and so that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to sow a flat of Saving Grace's babies, and they won't come true to cultivar, so we'll just kind of have a mixed bag of all her children. But before we get started on that, we need to head inside and grab all my cool flower seedlings. This is day 3 of hardening off for them, and so they'll be spending about 5 to 6 hours out in the sun and the wind, and then they'll go back inside at night. And I usually like to do that process for about 5 to 7 days before I plant them out into the garden. So let's just get right to work. So here's a look at how the seedlings are doing. These are all cool flowers at this point, and I did start some snail vine and some cup and saucer vine, although I don't see any of those up at the moment. So here's the dianthus that I wanted to do that experiment with it. I did a fall planting, and then right next to it in the same raised bed, we're going to put in this spring planting so that we can see the difference side by side, fall planted versus early spring planted. I'm pretty sure we sowed this flat together. This is our apricot straw flower, and I overseeded it a bit, so I thinned it out, and so now we have 2 flats of that. I might have to give some of that away. We have, I think, a flat and a half of this Potomac lavender snapdragon. We also have an apple blossom snapdragon. I grew that a few years ago. I really liked it. Costa apricot, and then rose seeker, shades of rose, shady rose, something rose status over in there. And then over here, I do have Clarkia, but it's not ready to go out yet. And then here's the snail vine. Or sorry, here's the snail vine and the cup and saucer vine, but I don't see either of those up yet. But all these other flats need to go back outside for about 5 hours. It's a good day when you see something like this out your door, isn't it, friends? It's going to be such a beautiful spring. Now that these are outside, let's go plant that foxglove. So we have about 36 foxglove that we're going to add over into the hydrangea room, and I'm going to overlay some footage of a book here that I read this week. I believe it was called maybe English Country Gardens, but I'll make sure and overlay the cover as well. But I hadn't planned to grow any additional foxglove this year, and then I saw this picture of an estate garden full of beautiful foxglove, and I thought, you know, that would be a wonderful addition to really plant those en masse over here in the hydrangea room. And I'm already excited to see the hydrangea room in spring because if you recall, it wasn't here last spring. So we never really got to see it with the daffodils, the tulips. There's 100 La Belle Epoque tulips, 50 on each side of the arches. There's also in the corner Mount Everest tulips. Before you enter in, oh, sorry about the traffic. Before you enter in, there's lots of blue hyacinths. And of course we have the summer snowflakes. We've just got all kinds of stuff in this area to enjoy, which we didn't even see come to life last year. So it's going to be a lot more full in this garden, but I thought let's add some height in the spring with these beautiful foxglove. Well, I just can't wait to see how that garden looks this come May. There's also beautiful purple irises in there this year that weren't there last year. So I think it'll be a really beautiful show. But now let's move on to this Verbena bonariensis. And I want to propagate this for two reasons. I didn't grow this from seed myself, but instead I got it from a nursery, and it was grown inside the nursery. And we still have about, I would say, 5 weeks where we will be experiencing frost. And all of this top growth here is really new and delicate. And what I've seen in the past is that if I plant it out now, it survives, but a lot of times it will just die back to its basal foliage. So why not go ahead and take this tip growth, propagate it, and then plant out the lower, more basal foliage plant. So what I like to do is just stick the cuttings right into water. You can also stick the cuttings into soil. I tend to like water just because I'm not here every day, and this is just a little easier to monitor. And then what I want to do, for the sake of it being a cutting, is remove all these lower leaves here. And since these are going into water, this is actually totally fine. If I was going to stick this cutting into soil, I would want to do this. I would want to leave these leaves up here, or you could even cut them in half if you wanted. Then what you would want to do is remove these leaves and cut right below that node. That's what you would want your cutting to look like if it was going into soil, but I'll just sacrifice that cutting for now. Since these are going into water, it's a much more forgiving process and a little bit more beautiful as well. This is the cutting that I'm going to use for water propagation, and then just right here into these small vessels. And isn't that just a fun and exciting way to double your stock? And also then it encourages these verbena to branch even more. So this definitely works in soil as well. Like I say, I'm just not great about being hands-on every day with cuttings and soil unless I really, really need to be. Hopefully this close-up will be helpful as well. So for the sake of the plant, I'm taking the cutting right here. For the sake of the cutting, I'm going to cut it again right here, right below a node. I'm going to remove these lower leaves. I'm going to remove these leaves as well. And then just remember, if you are doing it in soil, I would want to go ahead and remove these leaves as well. These top leaves here are pretty small. I would probably just leave those. But if you want to decrease the surface area of the leaves also, if you're doing soil propagation, you could just cut them in half as well. And basically, you know, when you remove the stem itself from the plant, it starts to lose water rapidly. It starts to transpire, really. So by removing these leaves, it's less for this stem to have to hydrate these leaves. That's why you'll see a lot of people cut them. So we want to do everything we can to help the plant produce roots. So there we have it, 18 free Verbena bonariensis cuttings that will turn into plants. I would say you'll start to see roots in about 2 to 3 weeks. It has been a number of years since I've done this specifically with verbena, but I do remember I saw the roots very quickly. And you can also just keep on cutting on these verbena as long as you want, as many plants as you want. It's a really, really easy plant to take cuttings from and root. But now what I'll do is I'll stick these inside and let them grow on roots in there, and I'll probably plant these out maybe in about a week. But now let's do what I'm really excited about and what I've been looking forward to for months and months. Let's get Grace, let's get our Saving Grace dahlia seeds we saved, and let's go ahead and plant a whole tray together. So here's our saved seeds. Amazing Grace. Wait a second. Why did I put Amazing Grace? I thought I was going to call it Saving Grace. Okay, maybe we should take a vote. I thought there was an Amazing Grace dahlia, and that's why I wanted to do Saving Grace. Maybe I just wrote it down wrong in October. Grace, are you ready to start your dahlia babies? All right, let's do this outside. All right, Grace is excited and we're ready to go. I'm pretty sure that Amazing Grace was already a named cultivar, so we're sticking with Saving Grace. So I can't remember how many seeds I collected. You want to see them, honey? I'll take that as a yes. So I'll just go ahead and make a little hole for each one. So what inspired this idea was, first of all, how beautiful the dahlia was, but also if you guys have seen Growing Floret, which originally I feel like I had to purchase a subscription to the Magnolia Network, but I'm pretty sure now if you have Amazon Prime, you can just watch Floret's show on there. And in the last episode, which I think is titled Sanctuary, it's how the whole season ends. Sorry about the noise in the background. It's how the whole season ends and she's just walking through this field of her dahlia seedlings. And I've watched that show so many times and cried so many times watching it, because I guess, you know, that's kind of what I'm after, kind of a flower sanctuary here. You know, anyway, I was just so touched by that moment, and also the way that they shot the footage, and there was no sound at all. It was just her kind of speaking to the flowers, and she was saying, you know, I'm getting emotional now even just thinking about it. But she was just talking to each and every dahlia saying, you know, if you want me to see you, show me. And I don't know, it was just such a beautiful moment. You know, I've always been just such a fan of Erin, and I'm sure she has inspired so many, if not all of us. But let's go ahead and stick these dahlia seeds in now. Just a small hole, maybe about 1/2 inch deep. Basically, I just want to get them in there and get them covered. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna do one in each cell, and we'll see what kind of germination rate we get on these. This original dahlia seed was sent to me by one of you, and so many of you have become good friends, and I believe she got the seed from Triple Wren Farm. So if you're looking for dahlia seed this year, you might want to check them out. I've also grown dahlia seed that came from Botanical Interests, maybe Renee's Garden seed. I'll have to double check on that. I'm using a 36 cell tray for this. My experience is that seed dahlias grow really, really quickly, and I would anticipate needing to bump these up into the 4x4 square kind of cells, bigger cells like this, before we're even able to plant them out in the garden. And I feel like these normally germinate in about 5 to 7 days. Sorry if I'm having a little bit trouble. Sorry if I'm having a little bit of trouble talking still, but I'm just really thankful to be feeling better. So I'll get these watered, I'll get them on the heat mat, and then I'll update you guys as soon as we have some germination. Well, friends, thanks so much for hanging out with me and Grace today. I don't know what she's getting around to, but always something around here. And I'll see you guys real soon. I still have a lot more to update you guys on, just because I've been kind of MIA for a while. But my forest alliums are looking pretty good. Some of them are coming up blind. Some of them are currently blooming inside. And we also need to now start on things like celosia, gomphrena, all those things that kind of take a long time to get going inside and need to wait until after the last frost to be planted out. I'll be starting them this week and next. But for now, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm thinking of all of you. I hope you're all doing well, feeling well, emotionally, physically, all the good things. And I hope your garden is starting to come back to life. I'll see you sometime real soon. Bye.